We're here in Muleshoe at the Church of God of the Firstborn, and it's a very special weekend, and they have Pete Etterman here from Nashville, Tennessee. Now, Pete, you're not the regular through Muleshoe. What is your occupation and your calling?
Well, I'm a minister in the Church of God of the Firstborn. I'm the vice president of the board of directors, but I've recently recorded some music, and people are grabbing onto it, and we've been performing out in Nashville quite a bit. But right now we're doing revival meetings in West Texas. We started in western Kansas in Garden City, and we're on our way all the way down to San Angelo, and we've been zigzagging across West Texas, and we've been doing good old-fashioned Holy Ghost revival meetings on the weekdays, and on Saturdays we've been putting on what we call a Celebrate the Sunshine event. Son, S-O-N, meaning Son of God. So we've been doing that, and that's a festival type atmosphere, and we do outdoor concert, and we have an outdoor service, and it's just a lot of good family fun where everybody, instead of being confined inside the church, we can get outside and the kids can play, and we can eat food until we pop, and we can worship God together, and it's great fun for the whole community.
Well, I think what you're saying to me, that Christians can have fun.
Absolutely. It's a myth that we have to be tied to a bench with a frown on our face.
And be real quiet.
Yeah, and what we
don't cry and don't move.
Well, and
don't breathe on us.
Right, and there's freedom and liberty in Jesus Christ, and that's what the whole message is about. Is we're bound before we meet Him, but after we form a relationship, then we find freedom and liberty, and you can have a good time without sin, and we do have a good time. And if you can tell by my size, I like to eat, and I like to eat frequently. We make food at these events, and if you can't find something you like to eat at these events, you're not hungry.
Now, talking about the event, tell us about when and where and all the details.
Well, the event is here on the address is 401 West Birch in Muleshoe, Texas, at the Church of God of the Firstborn.
Now, let's sort of explain. If you're coming, say, down 214 from the north, you want to just come on into town, and you're going to turn to your right when you get to West Birch. Be sure it's West Birch. East Birch is in the Lenoa edition. This is West Birch. And if you've lived here very, very long, it's just right down from Gladys Jackson's house. She used to have the best barbecue right over there on that corner.
Yeah, and we set up, and we're going to start at 5 o'clock because of
on Saturday
because of the temperature. It's better for us. We set up and we open all of the events. We have all these little inflatable houses for the kids to jump in. We've got a dunking booth, and we've got all this food. We've got face painting. There's something for everybody to enjoy themselves here. And then the music starts in the area of 6 to 6:30. We started as according as we see fit. It depends on the entertainment that we have. We have various entertainers before I come on stage that are from the area here and are from outside the area as well. We've got it in English and Spanish. Everything we do is bilingual, so that everybody can come and enjoy it and have a good time.
So all ages, it looks like to me.
Oh, definitely. We sing good Spanish Christian music, and we've got a gal that comes out of La Mesa, Texas. Her name's Esther Gonzalez, and she sings some praise and worship. And a little bit of English, a little bit of Spanish on her part, and then I sing a lot of good old-fashioned hymns for the older people, and then I do a lot of original stuff that I wrote myself, and that's what's on the charts in Nashville is my original music, and that's what they call inspirational or Christian country. So it's a little bit more modernized, but it's still got the message to it, and it's not it's not out of control. It's something that we can understand the words to, and there's a story behind it, and it's all driven to bring people to God. So
now, where do you really live, Pete?
I live in a fifth wheel that's actually parked out in this parking lot. I have a home. I was born in Kansas, grew up in Minnesota, and ended up 18 miles from the Mexican border in Port Isabel, Texas.
So you're an American.
Yes, ma'am, I am, and I'm very proud to be one. But I spend 7 to 8 months in our fifth wheel, my wife, my 2 children, and I, and then my parents also happen to travel with us in their motorhome, and we crisscross all across the country, really. But whenever we get home, what we call home is Port Isabel. That's right down by Brownsville, down on the southern tip of Texas.
And so now, have you been to Muleshoe before?
Yes, I come every year. This is my family. I consider these people as all my family because we get together and we spend a lot of time together as a church. And we come once a year and have revival meetings here. And I do what they call the evangelistic work. I just call it speaking the truth. And we bring this and we teach prayer meetings, and I speak in the evenings and just try to help people where they need help and encourage people and just try to help them find a better life for themselves.
Now, what's your wife's name?
Her name is Noemi.
And what part does she play in this weekend in Muleshoe?
Oh, she's my right arm and she's most of my brain.
And I can tell you're honest.
She's the one that reminds me everything. I just all I have to say is, "Ma, where's this? What's that?" And she's got an answer for me. But we were supposed to be out here in April doing this. We normally don't do it in the middle of the summer when it's this hot, but she was diagnosed with cervical cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And
how is she doing?
She's doing great. 6 weeks of 2 kinds of radiation and chemo and a lot of prayer. And she's doing fantastic. Wonderful. So we spent a lot of time up in Minnesota at the Mayo Clinic already this year in Rochester, Minnesota, and thank God she had some tests done in Hereford last week, and her blood counts were all real high when we left the hospital. They said, well, it might be in her organs. Scared us really half to death. And we got out here in these revival meetings, and we believe in prayers of faith, and we believe that Jesus heals. And we got together, and the whole church has been praying, and she took her test, and her blood counts on her liver went from 58, which was super high, to 25, and 56 to 28. So they're back down to normal, which means it just means good things. So
it sure does. And we'll keep Noemi Etterman on our prayer list, okay?
I sure appreciate that. I really do.
What are your children's names and ages?
Peter and Annie. Peter just turned 9 yesterday, 4th of July, and Annie is 6.
So he's a firecracker.
Yes, ma'am, he is. Yep. He was born 2.5 months prematurely. And he came out looking like a little old man. And I said, every day since then, he's been turning me into a little old man.
That's great. Now, tell me, how long have you been a member of the Church of God of the Firstborn?
Well, you see, we don't really have a membership. We have, if you're born again, if you get saved, that makes you part of it. But it's been 11 years now since I received salvation at the altars and I was at the national headquarters in Newton, Kansas, of the Church of God of the Firstborn, and I received that salvation. About a year later, I was called to do God's work. And
now, has your family been in this church active for a long time now?
My grandfather founded this church.
And what year was that?
1936 is when it incorporated into the United States, but he was doing it earlier on. He was an immigrant from Germany. His parents were killed in the Holocaust. And he got over here and was called to start this church, and they left from North Dakota, my grandparents, Ended up in San Marcos, Texas. I don't know how. Yeah, that's a long trip in the 1920s, 1930s. And they ended up on a street corner in San Marcos, Texas, preaching the Word of God. And that's how it started.
Is that right?
And now it's across the country, and we don't have a huge amount of churches, but we're all the way from Florida to New Mexico and all the way up into North Dakota.
Of what a heritage you have. Now, you want to sing a little bit for us?
Yeah, I could sing something for you. Sure.
What do you think you'll sing?
Oh, I guess I'll sing one of the good old standards. I'll sing the old Rugged Cross.
Oh, that is the best of the good old standards. This is Pete Etterman.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophy at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. Oh, that old rugged cross, so despised by the world, has a wondrous attraction for me. For the dear Lamb of God left His glory above to bear it to dark Calvary, to the old rugged cross I will ever be true. Its shame and reproach gladly bear. Then He'll call me someday to my home far away, where glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown.
And you have just heard Pete Etterman, and he is a Christian country recording artist and also songwriter, right, Pete?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And go ahead.
I've written several. So I've got one album out that is all original music, and then the other one is all this good old-fashioned Southern gospel hymns and standards.
And you can hear him in person at the celebration of Sunshine, S-O-N, shine, the best kind of shine.
Amen.
And it will be starting here at the Church of God of the Firstborn in Muleshoe on Saturday at 5 o'clock. And you're going to also get some good food, and you're going to have bouncy houses and all kinds of fun and entertainment. And not just Pete will be singing, but others too, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We'll have various entertainment in English and Spanish. The message will come in English with Spanish translation. We're just going to have a good time, and it's something that we'd like to see the community come out for, because it's not about nothing but having a good old time and learning a little bit about Jesus.
And everyone needs to learn about Jesus. 401 West Birch is the address. And if you're coming across the tracks and down North First Street, turn to your left or turn west and go down to the Church of God of the Firstborn here in Muleshoe. And you'll see all of the fun going on Saturday at 5 and after.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It should run out until about 9, maybe 9:30, but it's not going to be a real late night, but we're going to have a good time, and there's going to be a lot of food, faith, family, and fun.
Good. Can't sound any better.